it's inconsistent shit I call my vision. Trying to figure out who's real and who isn't. Turn my smiling face into a face full of grimace. Once I sighted the face of these gimmicks, realize the music is solely based on the build of their image, not from what they have written, not from what they have given.
Good evening and welcome to FabFit TV. I'm your host, Kim Barnes-Jefferson, and I work with women over 40 to help them break free of the diet rules so they can feel fit, free, and comfortable in their bodies. So here we are, we're heading into the summer, and summer for a lot of us, it's busy. Life's busy, but mainly I feel the summer gets busy because, kids are out of school, the days are longer, and we're trying to squeeze, at least I am, trying to squeeze as much outdoor activity as I possibly can in the 5 minutes of summer we get here in Boston. And one of the biggest ways that I'm able to save time is meal prepping. And I know, when I asked this question on my Facebook page, the litany of reasons why people do it and the reasons why people don't, it was very, there was a lot of commonality and a lot of different reasons why people don't do it. So for me, when I first started losing weight, I didn't know anything about meal prepping. And when I started, at the time, the trainer I was working with, he's like, you should prep at least your lunch. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I remember as a kid, my mom would cook meals in the beginning of the week, and she would freeze them or use a crock pot because, she was a working mom. So she's like, the last thing I want to do is come home and cook dinner. And so I always thought it was a time saver, but I was like, I'm not cooking for a family. I'm cooking, most times I'm cooking for myself. And of course, you always throw together sometimes crappy meals, sometimes not the most healthy meals, or, whoever can deliver it to you in 30 minutes or less, that's what you're eating. So I know that, so many of you agonize over meal prep. And, some of the things I heard was, I can cook it on Saturday, but I'm not eating 4-day-old chicken. Or I cook it and by the time, I get to whatever day I'm supposed to have it, I just don't feel like having that anymore. So honestly, what I know is that meal prep takes less time than you think. Most of us spend more time planning a vacation than we do what we're going to eat. And, and then we spend more time regretting the choices that we made, right? Anyone make a meal and you're just regret it. Last night, I was it was an okay dinner, but I traveled all weekend. I kind of quickly went to the grocery store, and I'm going to say, I wouldn't even give myself a C. It was a D for dinner. And, luckily my husband ate it and he didn't complain about it. So 2 snaps up and a Tic Tac to you, honey. So what I really, touch screen, very sensitive. So the first thing when it comes to meal prepping is you have to make a menu. And so that means you have to go to the grocery store. And trust me, I hate the grocery store. I'm not one of those people, I see couples in the grocery store and I'm like, how did you wrangle your man to come to the grocery store? Or how did the man wrangle you to come to the grocery store? And they're, one's pushing the cart and one's putting stuff into the cart. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, me and my husband, we'd be having those, one of those knockdown drag out fights because whenever we do go to the grocery store together, he's like, why don't we buy this? Why don't we buy that? He's like a 5-year-old. And I'm like, oh my God. At least with a 5-year-old, I could yell at him at the store and people not call DSS on me. So grocery shopping, for me, I have to be organized to go to the grocery store because I'm not those people who are I'm going to go up one aisle and down the other, up one aisle and down the other. I'm like Mario Andretti. I'm like, how fast can I get in and out of this place? And ideally, I want to be in and out of that store in 30 minutes. And so I've gotten to the point where I know when my store isn't that crowded. Sunday afternoon around 3 o'clock, boom, slide in there. Go to the game, go during Patriot season, go during the first quarter of the game, boom, in and out. I'm all about how can I quickly and easily get in and out. But in order to do that, you have to have a list. So when I go, I make sure that like I eat before I go, so I'm not shopping hungry, and I have my list. And I create a list throughout the week, so that when I do run out of the staple foods that I always have in the house, I just put it on the list. So half and half. Life is not good without half and half in my house. So it's like my base level staples, and we all have those base level staples of things that you just enjoy to always have in your house. So for myself, it's always having half and half, always having cottage cheese, always having like one or two fruits in my house, always having one or two vegetables in my house, always having like one or two good fats that aren't peanut butter in my house, always having some type of like brown rice, quinoa, barley, so like cans of beans, like something so that if, I'm in one of those times where I went away for the weekend and I didn't get a chance to go to the grocery store, I can quickly and easily throw together a meal, but it's not perishable. So that's the first step. You got to hit the grocery store. And then when I prep, it takes away the stress of what am I going to eat? The stress of that it's gone. It takes less of that mental energy. Today I was at the grocery store. I didn't go in with a list and I didn't go with an idea. So I spent probably 10 more minutes trying to figure out what the heck am I going to eat tonight for dinner? And then I just stumbled across, taco shells on the end cap, and I was like, tacos. Went to grab some ground turkey, and grab some shredded cabbage off of the salad bar, and we're having tacos tonight for dinner. So that's where, I want you to start thinking about like when you have a list versus when you don't have a list, you get in that like, what do we do kind of situation. And it makes shopping faster, easier, and you spend less money because you go in with a plan versus, these hit or miss things. And when you go hit or miss, how many times have you bought something that one, you've never used it, or you bought it and it's like a perishable and 5 days later you're tossing it in the trash, right? So I want you to think about what are your basics and your staples that you always just want to have in the house, and then decide your meals. And so one of the best things that I do is we all have those staple meals that your family likes, right? So I'm laughing because we're having tacos and it's Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. All right, so you have those staple meals that your family likes. So build on what your family likes. If your family likes chili, if your family likes tacos, if your family likes Italian, just figure out those meals that your family likes and start to incorporate that regularly into your diet. So I remember as a kid, Friday was pizza night, so maybe you still stick with that Friday's pizza night. Maybe now that the weather's nicer out, you're grilling outside more often. So figure out, what do you have in your house as I'm planning, so that way as I'm writing out my list, I'm not duplicating and I'm not running out to the store multiple times a week. Like for me, I go to the grocery store one time a week. And if I didn't get it in that week, guess what? I'm not getting it. It takes a pretty big thing to get me to go to the grocery store more than one time a week. I don't like the grocery store so much. And, for those people who are like, I don't like the grocery store, nowadays, in most major cities, you can either easily get a home delivery from, I know here in the Boston area, there are three places, Peapod, Instacart, and then actual individual grocery stores will deliver, within a certain mile radius of the store. The other thing is several grocery stores, I know at least here in the Boston area, and I've heard of other places, that I can order online but pick it up there. So, at least all you're doing is throwing the packages into your car. So for those people who are like, or if you have young kids and, they're like the 5-year-old who are like, how come we can't have sugar pops and how come we can't have ice cream? You can do that grocery shopping that way. And that way you're not worried about unbuckling and strapping in and all of that good stuff. It's just keep the kids strapped in the car, throw it in the trunk, and off to the races you go. Or don't even bother with getting them in the car, and they all just arrive magically with elves at your front door. So think about, so what I'm, first of all, you have to go to the grocery store. You have to decide, what are the meals that you're going to have, and then create a calendar. I take a look at my week every Sunday. Every Saturday I sit down and I take a look at my calendar, and I'm like, is my husband have a business meeting? Do I have a business meeting? Is there travel? So I know how many meals am I actually going to make for that particular week. Then I also will decide, what am I going to have? Like, my main thing I prep is lunch. And so I look at it and I say, what do I want to have for lunch? And primarily I rotate through, either I'm having a big ass salad, which is, all the veggies, and I grill some protein, but I also will know that I'll have having leftovers. So I'll grill a little couple breasts of chicken, and then I know that I'll have a couple of things left over that I'll be able to eat and have a salad on the side. So I know that a lot of people say to me, oh, I don't know what I want to eat, or if I cook it on Sunday, I don't want to eat, X number of day old chicken. And I get you, I hear you. So if you like it quasi fresh, I'm a big proponent of you double cooking. So I would cook my dinner and I would have it for my lunch. Or you could cook 2 dinners in one, and that way the next day you're coming home and all you're doing is heating up the leftovers, so that you're only cooking a handful of times a week versus cooking every single day. So there are little tricks and hacks that you can do to, alleviate your time in the kitchen. I'm not that person who is, lining up the Tupperware things and putting all the same meals in it. I don't do that, because I'm with you. I like variety, and so for me, my variety comes in, I double cook. So I have, dinner, and I make it into my lunch for the next day. The other thing I like to do is I change up I'll make 2 different proteins. I'll make 2 different starches. I'll make 2 different vegetables, and I'll just mix and match that way. And that way, for me, it gives me that enough of that variety that I need, so that I don't feel like I'm eating the same thing day after day after day. Now, I know that plenty of you will be like, well, what's wrong with eating the same thing? I could do it all the time. I hear you. I get it. That's you. When I eat the same thing over and over again, I feel like I'm in a prison. I feel like I am a prisoner of war of my own making. And so I need as much variety as I possibly can. And I was also, there's also like several themes. Like, Pinterest is my bestie. And a lot of people say, I don't know how to cook, or I don't like to cook. I'm no Martha Stewart. I have no aspirations to like go out back and like pull a sprig of thyme off of my home cooked herb garden and go out to my chicken coop and grab freshly hatched eggs. I have no desire to that. All of that happens for me at the grocery store. It's magic. Magic gets you to the grocery store. I know they're farmers. I know all that stuff. But it's like sausage. Do you want to know what's inside? I don't. You just go. I enjoy the smell. So if you go on Pinterest, I will type in easy chicken, and a plethora of recipes will pop up. And for me, I'm not one of those people who like needs to spend hours in the kitchen. I'm like, if it has more than 5 ingredients, it's not for me. It's just not for me. If it takes more than an hour, it's not for me. I'm like, how can I be in and out? I mean, as it is now, I struggle. I work from home, and I struggle to get food on the table by 8 o'clock. Like, I got no excuses, but I'm all about how quickly can I get my food done. And, if you have all the time in the world, rock on with your bad self, sister girl. But I don't want to spend all that time in the kitchen. And, when I used to have my old house, I didn't have air conditioning. So I needed to be in and out of the kitchen as fast as possible because it was hot as insert your favorite hot vocabulary word. So some of the things, when I was doing my research for the show, I said, okay, let me just toss out some themes because I'm not a theme person. I just will punch in the protein that I want to cook for that week. So like sometimes I haven't had fish in a while, so like I'll go on a fish run or I'll go on a shrimp run. So they have like meatless Mondays, so you can type in meatless Monday and come up with a number of, kind of plant-based meals. And, what I find, my husband is definitely like a carnivore and he's like, you go meatless, but where is the protein in this? He's not shy about asking me about that. He's like, it's good, but I'm still looking for the protein. So you can go meatless Mondays, Taco Tuesday, we're doing that tonight. You could do Wellness Wednesdays where it's like, if you're trying to get your family to start to eat healthy, maybe you can incorporate some, some salads on Wednesdays. Also, it's summertime, so I know I eat a ton of salad, and I was in Miami this past weekend, and I had like 3 salads that had like the most common ingredients, but I never thought to put them together. It was quinoa, corn, tomatoes, and shrimp, and some mixed greens. Heavenly. I gotta recreate that at home. It was heavenly, and I was like, why don't I have quinoa more often? It was heavenly, but I digress. You could do stir fries. You could have a day that you just have sandwiches. You could have stew night. My crock pot is my best friend. I know everyone's into this Instapot. I haven't tried it, but same diff. Crock pot. Throw all your stuff in the morning. Nowadays they have, they're fancy. You can set a timer and then it'll just, put itself on warm until you get home. So Instapot, I think it cooks things in like, 3.3 seconds. It's like the microwave of crock pots, if you will. But like, themes also help keep you on task. So for those people who are like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like what I decide, if I haven't pre-cooked it and I just have the ingredients, it gives me that flexibility to be like, I feel like Italian tonight. And you can make whatever it is for Italian. So that you get that flexibility, you get that spontaneity. But again, you also can like say, I'm just going to double the recipe. So I either have dinner for the next night, or I have lunch. And that way, again, the flexibility, the spontaneity, still in there. But you also, as you're, kind of going down this path, also start to collect recipes that your family likes. I have a whole drawer full of recipes that, have been like the 2 thumbs up. So it's like, when I'm getting organized on Saturday, I kind of go through, my recipes and I'm like, oh, okay, this was good. I mean, I do have recipe, cookbooks, and I have a zillion cookbooks. But now with Pinterest, I just go through my pin of healthy recipes and I have notes of, what were hits, what were misses, and go through there and just, cook that way. You could also focus on what is in season. So here in Boston, we have this, several farmers markets, but it's in Friday. So every Friday I go down to the farmers market and I'm like, okay, what's here? And I buy some fresh vegetables and then I go to my Pinterest and say, okay, what the heck do I do with this now? But I don't overbuy. I only buy a couple of things so that way, I'm not wasting it because it's like fresh stuff. So the shelf life ain't all that long. So I just want to make sure that, I'm using it within a couple of days. Let's see. So my calendar is my saving grace, so I want that to be the theme. I know right now you're like, oh, that just seems like too much work. But I'll tell you, how much energy do you spend asking yourself, what the heck am I going to eat? And then how much energy do you spend when you beat yourself up because you went out and you ordered not so healthy takeout? Right? So if I just sit down for literally, it takes me 30 minutes maybe to sit down and say, okay, what's this week look like? What do I want to eat? How many meals do we need? All right, boom. What do we go through my cabinet? What do we have in the house? Okay, what do I need to get? Okay. And once you start to get into the rhythm of it, it becomes a habit, right? And then now you have a nice routine of this is how we create our meals for the week. Then now it's a routine, and now it's the habits that create the routines, that create the consistency, that create the results. Because the number one reason why so many people say to me, like, they fall off the wagon is because they wing it. And trust me, I'm really good at winging a lot of stuff, but I found that I can't wing health. I need to make a decision that if I want to be healthy, I have to do these things so that I can fit into my pants. That's my goal. I just want to fit into my pants. So if that's one of your goals, you want to fit into your pants, you want to look in the mirror and be like, how you doing? Right? You want to be able to go on vacation and not freak out that you have to lose 400 pounds in order to go on vacation. And oh my gosh, you're pulling and prodding on all over your different body parts. This is the way, right? Spending 30 minutes to like plan out your week of food is going to go a long way with taking off the unwanted pounds and keeping you feeling healthy and happy at the end of the day. And like I said, more people spend more time on like where we're going to go on vacation than what am I going to eat. I don't know if you've seen the TV show. It's called Camping with Jennifer Garner, and she took, it was her and a bunch of friends on camping, and she was like the quintessential organizer. She had a binder for a binder for a binder. I'm not asking for that level of detail. I'm literally like a pad of paper and just write out what are you gonna do. Okay, that's all I'm asking for. And these are just quick hacks. Figure out what day of the week you're gonna go to the grocery store. Decide what the heck it is that you're gonna eat. Plan in there for any potential snacks. I buy everything pre-chopped, sliced, riced. I don't chop a vegetable at all. And cook double, right? Those are like my quick hits for you. And I know that this was kind of like a quick, like 35,000 foot level, but what I'm doing is I'm taking a deeper dive with 5 other experts about meal prep. And if that sounds like something that you want to do me a favor and go to this link to get on the wait list. It's bit.ly, bit.ly/meal prep 5-day, and you can get on the waiting list, and it's literally a 5-day meal prep intensive so that you guys can, I'm interviewing moms, I'm interviewing people on a budget, I'm interviewing how do you make it tasty, all the things. So if you want to join me on that, that's where you can find it, bit.ly/meal prep 5-day. In the meantime, I'll be back right after the 4th of July. I can't believe that it is going to be July already. And you can find me at my website, fabfitsquad.com. You can find me on the socials, Kim Barnes Jefferson on Facebook and Kim Jefferson Coach on Instagram. And in the meantime, I just hope that, the tips and tricks that I've given you have really helped, hopefully inspire you to think more about meal prep, because it's not that hard once you get started. And so the big takeaway for you is, like any show I do, I drop a lot of good knowledge at you, but then I want you to take a step back and say, I wrote all these dang notes. What's one action I can take? So if your one action is, I'm just going to start going to the grocery store, or is your one action, maybe you're just focusing on creating a plan for dinner. Whatever it is, just keep it simple, because the more you try to I gotta do it all, then you get into overwhelm. Then overwhelm turns into I'm overwhelmed, I can't. So I want you to really focus on how do you keep it simple, because I didn't really start out organized and this is what I do. No, I didn't start out that way, and it just I have to do things slow, because when I try to do too many things at once, I end up buying all the things and then don't even use half of it. So I don't want you to fall into that bucket. So let's start at a pace that is manageable for you. The thing I'm starting to use in my life regularly is slow is the new fast. And when I started doing that and stopped getting caught up in the hustle and bustle, I'm sleeping better, I'm enjoying more life, and I'm not nearly as stressed out as I have been in the past. So, I hope that between now and next now and the next time that we chat, you have had an opportunity to do one of the meal prep things. I love when you reach out to me. Hit me up with an email, squadleader@fabfitsquad.com. Also, if there's ever anything you want to hear me talk about, again, between socials, my email, there is plenty of ways for you to say, hey, have you ever considered talking about blah, 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 blah? Because I probably haven't or probably have. And you know what? Enough people ask me about it. It's time that I finally talk about it. So I hope you have a safe and happy 4th of July. And I feel like that's one of the holidays I don't have to say if you celebrate. How do you not celebrate a barbecue and some fireworks? Who doesn't like that? All right, so I will see you guys. I believe that is on the 9th of July. So enjoy your time. Hopefully you have a few days off around that time, and I will see you then.